Welcome back guys to another video of how many shares. Today we're going over the insane yield max ETFs. We're going to do TSLY, which is probably their most popular. It's their oldest one. The last video with how many shares to get $500 a month in dividends was a pretty good success. So I appreciate you guys for watching that. Let's go ahead and jump into this one. It's going to be really interesting to see how these yield max ETFs turn out in the end. I have done some videos on them prior, but if you want to go see those, go ahead and go check them out. Now first, look at the price. So this fund has only been around for a little while. I don't even think it's been out a year. November of 2023. Yeah, so not even a full year yet. And I mean, it's down 42.5%. So these high yielding ETFs often have some rough looks about them because when they pay out the dividends, it causes the price to fluctuate quite a bit. And of course, this one following Tesla's price, Tesla fell off a cliff the last 3 days. It's down like, I want to say 14, 15, 16% just in the last 3 days. I know that because I own a decent number of shares and it is killing me a little bit inside. But looking at this price, it has fallen lower than it ever has. All-time lows is definitely scary. But also, I'm thinking about putting some in my Roth IRA. I know that sounds stupid. These are really high-risk funds, but sometimes it's just fun to do that, you know? You got to jump in and see what it's like. But let's talk about the yield on these. We'll actually go to their fund website first. This is the yieldmaxetfs.com. And I've been here on other videos, been on their Twitter. It's really interesting. They have so many of these funds and they're pumping out more and more and more. Now, important to note, expense ratio is really high on these, almost a full percent. Typically, you're looking at 0.3 to 0.6% on the low to mid average. And so these ones are definitely higher, double and triple in some cases, but the yield is why. These are all actively managed funds because they're writing covered calls on the specific stock option that that the fund is for. So TSLY is Tesla, OARK is the ARK fund, ARKK, the Kathy Wood fund. And so TSLY is 50% yield, 58% yield right now, which is insane. OARK is 32, APLY on Apple, 30, NVIDIA's is 40, Amazon, AMZY is 40. That one I'm really interested in. I love Tesla, but I love Amazon because I think it's a consistent growth stock. And it's typically less fluctuating than Tesla would be because Tesla has these insane swings. For how big of a market cap it has, it really is kind of insane how much this stock swings up and down. I had to stop myself from buying more Tesla as well. But looking at these funds, there's a lot. They have more coming out. They have one on the Coinbase stock, one on ZOM, soon one on PayPal, Square Cash, AMD. So they have so many. You can look on their website and see all these. You can see about them, the education, the background. They have a ton of stuff all over the place. So the 30-day SEC yield is important. That's the last month what the dividend yield has been paying out. These are monthly payers, I believe. Yeah, they are. We'll double check that. So a 4.6% yield is insane. It's insane. Now you got to remember that's going to be, you're going to get taxed on that pretty heavily, especially depending on how much money you make. So I always recommend if you're any sort of income ETF, you're doing that in a tax exempt account, like a IRA account, like a Roth IRA or traditional Roth. Actually, I don't know if it matters for a traditional Roth, but I know for a Roth IRA, just to save you a lot of paying those taxes. So this is their distribution rate. It is all over the place, but I like to use Seeking Alpha for these. You can actually see a lot better about the dividend, and they have, man, annual payouts $8, and the stock price is $11.50. Now it did fall off a cliff, you know, but still pretty insane. So dividend history, I'm looking all over the place for it. Let's go to the 10-year. Even though they've only been out for a year. So it does fluctuate all over the place. That's how covered call options usually work. They're very inconsistent, and QYLD is the same, RYLD, those ones. JEPI is pretty similar. Sometimes it's all over the place, and you'll get a good month, you'll have a bad month. I mean, either way, getting a 58-cent monthly dividend from a stock that's, what did I say, $11.50? That's not bad. That's actually pretty insane. You can always use Seeking Alpha for their dividend scorecard and stuff like that and what they like about it. But, man, yeah, the yield just keeps climbing. Their payout ratio, that's what I want to look at exactly, is their dividend payout ratio. The problem with these funds is they're so new, there's not a lot about them out yet. They haven't really shown what they're capable of. I'm not even sure. I mean, it hasn't even been out for a year, so the payout ratio might be a little bit skewed. A lot of the data might be a little bit skewed just because of the fact that they don't have it out. It hasn't been out for that long. So the text it. Oh, I can't even talk. Call options, years of growth, 0. It hasn't been out a year. Payout date is the 16th, so it just paid out. Payout ratio, they don't have it yet. But we'll calculate exactly how much we're going to need. Now let's look at the drip calculator, see how it's done so far. Okay. Ooh. Not the best. Definitely not the best. This is normally how I gauge if a stock is worth it or not. So obviously you can't base it only on this, but with dividends reinvested so far, we've seen the price fall 40%. So it's actually pretty phenomenal. If you were to reinvest the dividends, you'd only be down about, what is that, $56. I know you're saying that's stupid. It's been a full year down $56, but when the stock price itself fell 40%, that's not that bad. With dividends not reinvested, you're only down, what, $83. So not great, not terrible, to be honest. You know, when you look at a dividend stock, you want to look at the history primarily. So it's definitely not the best, but it could be worse, but it is still really, really high risk. So overall, I mean, these yield max funds, they're so interesting. And for cash flow, here's one thing that I've seen people do is they'll put a good chunk of money into these and then roll all the dividend outcome into a different, safer fund. So like Realty Income, we just talked about that in the last video. Go check that one out if you guys are interested. Has a 6% dividend yield. It's a dividend aristocrat, 25-year dividend history, phenomenal, growing, monthly payer, brilliant stock. One of my favorites, probably one of my top 3 stocks. And so you could just fund all the money into that stock from these. But let's do the math on it right now. We'll go back to here again. It has fallen off a cliff. Let's run some numbers. So the forward yield, I don't know if we want to use Google's. I mean, they both said 58%. So we'll just round down to 58%. So when we're talking about dividends, to get, of course, we want $500 a month, which is $6,000 a year, because $500 a month is a good payment. For me, it'd be my car payment. So let's talk, what would we need estimate-wise? Well, it's about 60% dividend yield, 58% dividend yield. So if we throw in $10,000 and we charge that at a 0.58% rate, you're going to end with $5,800, of course, which is pretty insane. So basically what you would need is you would need about $11,000 into this to make $6,000 a year. Yes, you heard that right. That's the problem with these yields. You'd have over. $11,000 would get you more than $6,000 a year. 10,500. Yeah, $6,090. So that's why people don't like these funds, because that doesn't make any sense. That's really high risk. We haven't seen it perform over and over again. Now, people do rave about these. There's videos on YouTube about them. I need to go check out more and look more into these. Although I am thinking about doing another dividend challenge, because throwing these in a dividend challenge and seeing how they actually perform over a year would be phenomenal. Like we saw with the dividend drip calculator, it kind of sat at the same amount. But the problem with that sitting at the same amount, here's why it's a net negative, because you are paying taxes on those short-term gains, because they're not, I think qualified dividends is the term. So they're not qualified dividends. It falls into the wrong category that you get taxed higher. So especially if you're making more money. So if you're like in college and you make like $1,000 a month, you won't be taxed as high as someone who's out of college working, making $50,000, $60,000 a year. They're going to be a different tax bracket. You're going to get taxed higher on those short-term capital gains. So it's something you need to remember. Taxes are always going to be an issue. So looking at this and saying, oh, you break even, that's fine, it's not that bad, you're going to be at a net loss of at least probably 10%, depending on your tax income, your tax bracket. So things to note. It's not a break even. Everything needs to be considered. Now, so let's calculate shares total. So with $10,500, the current share price is 1153. So we're going to divide that by 1153. So you would basically end up with 911 shares. I clicked out of that so quickly. I didn't need to do that. 911 shares. I'll put that somewhere on here maybe, which is definitely not bad. It's a really small amount of shares for one thing. It's a very small amount of shares for just some insane output. It took me forever to do. My brain is just not going the right way today. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you buying these? I'm genuinely super curious if anyone's purchased these, how they've performed, because I have not. I'm really curious. I might buy one share and just see what happens, because I'm genuinely that curious. The owners of the company seem to be, like the Yield Max people on all their social medias, gung-ho about it. I want to know if it's a scam. I don't know. I want to know what's going on about that. So far, it's been paying out some high dividends, but the price appreciation has been going down coincidentally with that, but we're also in a bad market. The last year has not been great for the market at all, and they've been bouncing all over the place. So is now a good time to buy because it's so low? It's at all-time lows. Is it riskier now? But they also keep creating more and more funds. So obviously someone's buying it. There are people who are interested. I've seen really mixed reviews all over YouTube, all over everything. But I'll do more research and maybe I'll buy some, make some videos about it and see exactly how these performed. If any, I'm really interested in the Amazon one. I like the Tesla one as well, but Tesla, like I said, is all over the place. And you don't really want a stock to be moving all over the place if you have an ETF, like a dividend ETF based off it, because that volatility can be really detrimental to those dividends in the end. So as always, I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Go check out the Realty Income video that we just did. It was good. I think you guys would enjoy it. Realty Income is a solid, safe dividend stock. I think, in my opinion, it is the best dividend stock you can buy. If I could only buy one dividend stock, I would buy that one, and I talk about why in that video. And as always, if you guys could like the video, that helps me out a bunch. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think about these stocks. Are they too risky? Would you buy them? Have you bought them? Have they worked out? Anything about these stocks that you know, let me know. I want to hear as much information as I can for next videos, as well as my own, independent research. And as always, subscribe if you guys are interested in the stock channel. I only have 10% of my viewers are subscribed, which is like the worst I've seen on YouTube. Like normally it's like 30% of viewers are subscribed. 10% are subscribed. I only put out, a few videos a week, usually 2 or less. So I'm not going to bombard you, but let me know what more you guys want to see. We'll be doing more 5-minute DD videos, because 5-minute DD videos, I love those ones, and how many shares, because these ones are pretty popular and you guys seem to enjoy them. So as always, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one.